Welcome, welcome, everybody. I am so happy and grateful that you and I get to uncover this topic together. It's so important, and it's all about how a bad self image will make you fail. And the flip side of that is how you can learn to love yourself to success. Very, very important. It is the foundation of all of our results, really, in business, in life, in relationships, health, you name it. And this is a topic that changed my life radically. I know a lot of our participants have changed their lives because they really understood this concept at a deeper level. And that is what I'm going to attempt to do today with you, understanding this concept just a little bit deeper. And so there's a difference between understanding something and actually living it. You can understand and you can know something about a topic, but you don't really know it until you start living it and until your results starts changing. So let me know if you're with us live today. I'd love to hear from you, and you can always type your questions, your observations in the chat, and we have plenty of time today to uncover this topic together. So why is it important? Like I said, it defines all results in virtually all areas of your life, and it's something that we can keep upgrading on. You'll never get to a point where you say, now my self image is done. It is always a continuous work in progress. And when I reflect back on my own life and my own story, this enabled me to go from broke, sick, unhappy to happy, healthy, and wealthy on all levels. I went from $40,000 a year to having generated over $10 million today in a short amount of time. How did that happen? Well, self image was a big part of it. And you'll find as we move into this topic today that you will pick up some things, nuances that will help you shift yours. And I will share some tips and tools that you can implement right away that will help you upgrade your self image. So, what is it? What is self image? It is how you see and perceive yourself. And the best materials I've studied around this topic is something Bob Proctor recommended me to study, and that was a book by Maxwell Maltz called Psycho-Cybernetics. And it was actually perceived as the biggest psychological breakthrough back in the 1960s when he came forth with this concept. And he was a plastic surgeon, and he realized that sometimes working on people created a great psychological shift, and sometimes it didn't. And that led him to believe that we have two images. There's the one we project to the world, and there's the image that we hold on a deep subjective cellular level. And that image is formed by all the successes and the failures throughout our life. And not only is it formed through our early experiences in life, but it's also formed through genetic conditioning. That's right. And that's sort of a little scary when you think about it, that your results today are actually very far from yours, that your results today are an expression of other people's habitual ways of thinking and acting in the world. So sometimes you have to go back generations to recognize those patterns and where they came from. It's fascinating. It's fascinating, and it's it's scary at the same time. So let me know if you're here live. Love to hear from you. Welcome in. So your self-image, like I said, governs everything. It's a mental blueprint that you have on a deep subjective level. So in other words, it's not something that you consciously think about. Nobody in their right mind would sabotage their own journey. Nobody wakes up and says, I hope today's going to be a crappy day, or I hope I won't reach the financial goals I've set. That doesn't happen. It's the autopilot programming that keeps expressing itself without any conscious thought. So it's formed through your DNA, and then it's reinforced in your early upbringing, and with all the standards or the lack of them that was present in your environment. And so I remember one time I spoke to Bob Proctor, like I often did, and we were about to do a live event, one of our Real Magic live events, and we talked about standards. And he was like, he told me on the phone, he said, Anders, do you realize how many millions of people you're going to be impacting negatively in your lifetime by not upgrading your self-image today? What? Reflect on that in your own life. Do you realize how many millions of people you're going to be impacting negatively throughout your life by not improving your self-image as much as you know you can? Now, that is a big thought because the truth is you are changing the world with one action, one upgrade, and one move in your self image daily. It spreads like ripples. So, do you realize how many millions of people you impact negatively by not upgrading your self image today? Well, it's just little me. I don't impact a lot of people. Yes, you do. You're connected to everything, and everything is connected to you. So, by changing your self image, you are literally impacting the entire world. It's a big thought. Place a lot of responsibility in our own lap, doesn't it? It's scary and it's inspirational at the same time. So, the higher standards you set for yourself, um, the better your life will be. And it has more to do with saying no to things than actually accepting things onto your plate, I believe. You can literally love yourself to success, but it has more to do with letting go of old beliefs, old standards, old relationships, old strategic partnerships, whatever it might be. You can literally release your way to success with a healthy self-image, and you can't outperform it. It will always follow you around like a shadow, but you can definitely change it, and that's the good news. So let me know if you're here today. It's good to see you. Welcome in. We're having a great dialogue about self-image and how you can love yourself to success, and also the flip side of the coin, how a bad self-image will cause you to fail in areas you don't intend to fail in. So, we can change our self-image, and we can change it radically. And today you'll receive some tools that I have implemented that has helped me tremendously over the years. Because the fact is, your decisions shape your self-image, and so it's micro decisions. Sometimes it comes down to your standards, and how you dress, how you walk, how you talk, how you treat other people, what you allow, what you don't allow. It is an amazing concept, right, Josephine? It absolutely is. And I just last week, my brother and I was on a road trip, and he visited, and we do that once a year, and we go somewhere, and we just have great discussions, and it's just a wonderful thing. And my brother and I were staying at these hotels. We drove from Miami all the way to New York and back, and we realized throughout the trip that we had different standards when it came to hotels. And so when we checked into this little roadside motel one of the nights, I really felt a resistance in my self-image because I wasn't used to it. I haven't been staying in roadside motels for years now, and I felt this tremendous resistance in my self-image, and I had to verbalize it. I said, "Listen, this is not." And my brother has great standards for himself as well. He just made a decision that wasn't conscious. It was like, "Hey, that's a great option. We're just going to stay the night, and we're gonna keep driving in the morning." But it wasn't just that for me. It was it was a 3-star hotel. It wasn't bad at all, but it was just different. It was different than my self-image would allow me to today. And so we talked about it, and we just made some conscious decisions in terms of our standards and hotels going forward. And it's interesting because you will never finish the work. There's always a new standard for you to embrace. So what is that in your life? How can you raise your self-image right now? And these are small changes. I remember Bob Proctor told me once, he and his wonderful wife Linda decided to expand on their house, and they were staying at a different house while the work was going on. And Bob said on a training that while he was staying in the other house, he made a decision that when he was moving back into the new house, he would have changed his wardrobe and the brand of socks that he was wearing. And I'm like, that is amazing. At the physical age of 85, he decided to upgrade his self-image as it related to his socks. Is there room for improvement in your life and in mine? I believe there is. Where can you raise your standards? And this is a great month to do it. People are like, well, December, I'm going to start in January. If you can't start this work now, you're not going to change. You're not going to do it in January. You're not going to do it in February. I believe December is the best month to implement new standards because you're being tested. You are being tested on your standards. People around you are busy achieving absolutely nothing. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't spend time with family or enjoy this month. Of course you should. But there's a month where a lot of people's standards slide in favor of eating and drinking way too much, and they know they shouldn't be doing it, and they sacrifice their standards because family members around them are used to doing the exact same thing. So when you make some advanced decisions today about how you're going to move into December, you will strengthen your self image. It will feel better. I promise you that is what's going to happen. And again, it's not a black and white binary deal. It's not like either I can't spend time with family or I can. It's make micro adjustments, make advanced decisions, because the truth is your self-image and your decision-making process, or the lack of it, goes hand in hand. So lack of decisions, weak self-image; strong self-image, better at making decisions. And so I would recommend that you make a list of maybe 5 to 10 small micro adjustments you can start making, like the one I made last week about hotels. Never again a 3-star hotel, always 4 stars, 4 stars or more, even on road trips. And that has just been, sort of a standard of mine for a long time, but I sort of let it slide on this road trip, I guess. Like, you learn when you are compromising your standards. And I know you have this happen in your life where you go, well, it doesn't feel right. I know I should stretch my thinking and I know I should expand my standards, but I'm going to let it slide this one time, or I'm going to let it slide that other time. You're compromising what you know is true. That's an inner truth, and self-image also goes hand in hand, because the truth is your paradigm wants you to conform. Your paradigm wants you to sacrifice your standards because your family probably did it, your parents did it, their ancestors did it. So all of that programming and all of those sacrifices are running in your bloodstream. And so on a conscious level, you know you shouldn't be doing it, but yet you do it. Why? You lack inner truth. You're not truthful with yourself. So the stronger the self-image, the more you're going to be leading your life with inner truth, the more you're going to make those course corrections. And the truth is, if you don't do this, if you do not work on your self-image, you will suffer the consequences. And what are they? Well, first of all, you won't reach your goal. That's almost certain, because you cannot outperform it. So if you don't feel you're worthy of the good you deserve, you won't create it. You can run faster, you can know more, you can take all the advanced courses and classes and education. But if you're not matching your self-image to your goal, if you don't make the goal your decision anchor and your self-image anchor, you won't get there. Or at least the likelihood is going to be very, very slim. And it's going to limit your potential. You're going to fear taking risks. In your relationships, you're going to keep attracting toxic relationships that don't serve you. I had a client once, and she said, well, it's so interesting because the 5 previous relationships I was in, they were all sort of toxic. It was negative people. And I said, that's interesting, isn't it? What have you allowed into your life? So if you're not upgrading your self-image in relationships, in your business, in your job, you will keep recreating a past version of you. Do you want another copy of this year? Probably not. If you're like most people, we're growth-oriented beings. We want to create more, do more, have more, see more, and that's a healthy sign. But if you're not upgrading and making these micro adjustments, next year will be an exact copy of this year. Same with friendships and other relationships. Do you know people who always distrust others? You know them. They always find a way to distrust other people. Well, guess what? That's because they don't trust themselves. They've broken promises to themselves so often that it's become normal. And now that's all they see in their environment. So when you see people distrusting others, it's really because they don't trust themselves. They have a very weak self-image. They don't trust that when they tell themselves something, they're going to act on it. So that distrust is just transferred to the world around them. And it's so needless to say, this is very, very important. And if you just make micro adjustments, you'll see how your results are going to change. We've had so many examples in our community with people who've upgraded their self-images in an extraordinary way. And we're going to link to a few interviews under this video so that you can see some of them, because they deserve to be told. These are great people. Yannick, for instance, he went from not feeling very good about himself. He struggled with his self-image and his belief systems for years and years. Psychiatrists, psychologists tried to help him for like 20 years or something like that, I believe it was. but you will see the interview yourself. And after working with this, he started becoming a real friend of himself. He started waking up with a smile on his face, started a business, moved to Barcelona, living a great life today. That didn't happen by accident. Or Linda, one of our wonderful business owners that was in one of our programs, and actually in multiple of our programs, changed her results radically because she changed this concept. And we will link to these real life examples underneath here so you can see what changes are possible, and that will help you build a belief in you that it can be happening for you as well. So let's talk about one way you can improve your self-image. We sort of hinted at it before, but it's by making faster decisions. Give yourself 10 seconds max, but then you'll say, well, this decision is different from that decision. This is a big decision. This is not a big decision. Decisions are just decisions. They're neither big or small. It's just your perception that makes them so. So the way you decide on what you want to eat tonight is the same decision you're going to make, the same process that you're going to go through when you decide what clothes you want to wear or what home you would like to purchase. But now the paradigm says, well, I can't because that's an illusion. Of course you can, you just don't know how. The fun is in finding out how, but you can still decide. We decided to move into this home we're living in today in Miami with the sea view and dream home that we bought. We didn't necessarily know how to do it when we made the decision, but we made the decision. I made a decision to work with the best in the world in personal development. I had no idea how. I was broke, I was sick, I was unhappy, but I ended up doing that. In fact, Bob and I became great friends and we created a program together. That didn't happen by accident. I made a firm decision that that is what I was going to do. And I started working on my self-image and raising my standards to a point where they matched the outcome I desired. So make decisions fast, change them slowly, if ever. People with a weak self-image will change their opinions and decisions often based on external stimuli, people around them. Well, I think you should. Have you considered? And all the other crap that we're being served from the outside world. You make up your mind about what you want to do, and you give yourself 10 seconds max. That will strengthen your self-image. And when you start deciding to let go of more than you're taking on, you will find that it creates space to embrace a stronger, healthier version of you with higher standards. But if you're always busy, you never have time to work on yourself, well, guess what? You can't expect more than what you have now. So I would encourage you to check out these success stories. I would encourage you to start making faster decisions because that will strengthen your self-image. And remember what Bob Proctor told me. Do you realize how many people you impact negatively in your lifetime by not upgrading the self-image today as much as you know how to? It's a big thought, because the truth is you are going to be impacting millions, whether you believe it or not. You are the world you're living in. And so by changing those things around, by upgrading your standards, you will most certainly change the world. It's a big thought. It's a beautiful thought. And I would encourage you to focus on this area all throughout December. And let me know in the chat when you're watching the replay here what you're committed to upgrading in your life. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to be live every Tuesday, same time, 9 a.m. Eastern. And that is 3 p.m. Central European time. And I believe 7:30 Central Indian time. All right. It's not who we are that holds us back from anything we want in life. What's holding most people back are those illusions of who we think we're not. Bye for now. Go upgrade that self-image. Your future self will thank you.